pozdravljeni. Danes popoldan vem, da je danes že precej stvari se zgodilo in vem, da je predzadnji festivalski dan, tako da me zelo veseli, da vas lahko pozdravim v tako velikem številu na današnjem pogovoru z Matthijsom Wouterjem Knolom, direktorjem Evropske filmske akademije. Upam, da boste dobili veliko zanimivih informacij in vas tudi prosim, da v pogovoru sodelujete z vašimi vprašanji po nekem začetnem uvodu, ki ga bo Matthijs predstavil akademijo. Tako da bodite aktivni, dvigujte roko, mislim, da imam celo nek mikrofon tukaj, ki vam bo seveda omogočil, da postavite vaše vprašanje. So welcome, Matthijs. It's my great honor to welcome you here at the Festival of Slovenian Films, and thank you for taking your time to join us. I know that you have a busy schedule, especially in this period when the things are coming close to the European Film Awards, which luckily for you and for us are happening this year, basically already next year in January, and not in December as always. And we will speak, I think, in large also about this activity, but that's not the only activity, and the Academy's purpose and the establishment of the Academy by their founding members was far wider than that. So please tell us more about this topic. As we said earlier, so that I will ask you this question and then I will
talk for 1 hour.
I will sit back and you will just explain everything. No, I'm joking, but great to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you first of all, Daniel. Nice to be together. As you know, Daniel and I work together because Daniel is a board member of the European Film Academy, so very much involved. I'm very happy that it worked out with the invitation. Thank you also to the Slovenia Film Center and Natasha Buchar, who has been hosting. And it's a pleasure to meet also people in the last couple of days here to get a little bit more of a feeling of Slovenian cinema community, to see some films, even though of course not seen enough at all, and to get a bit of a feeling, and hopefully this will just be the first time of many times. So don't think that today, this 1 hour that we have, we need to absorb everything because there will never be a chance. I'm pretty sure we'll come back, or my colleagues will come back, and hopefully we'll have a stronger connection to Slovenia in the future. So yeah, coming to your question, I mean, first of all, an hour is of course not enough to explain everything about the European Film Academy, not because it's so big or because it's 100 years old. I'll try to say things that I think are useful for the people in the room. I've met some of you, so I have a bit of a feeling who's in the room. But I also think it's important that you have a chance to ask questions yourself, because you just don't understand, or you feel like, well, it's all nice, but I want to know something very specific. So please interrupt me or let me know if I can explain something better, and then I'll do my best. So to come to the European Film Academy, maybe a few introductory things for the first 5 minutes. The European Film Academy will celebrate its 40th anniversary in 2028. We're sort of working towards that. I myself have not worked for the European Film Academy 40 years, but only 5 years now, and my predecessors and the people who have been at the beginning of the European Film Academy basically set up the Academy as an academy to protect and to build European cinema culture. This was done in the late 80s. I was very young in the late 80s, so I don't remember myself, but I know, and I remember as well, that from the beginning years of the European Film Academy, what I've heard and read about it, is that back then people were very afraid that European cinema would be impacted very much by television, by different ways of audiences watching the films, and they felt that the European Film Academy and uniting people in Europe who were all afraid of what television might do back then could maybe be stronger, also against, I would say, the impact of American cinema and American film distribution all over Europe. So the filmmakers of Europe back then, 40, got together in Berlin. They did for the first time the European Film Awards, which was funded by the city of Berlin back then. That's why we're still in Berlin, because they gave us an office as well. And they said, let's do an academy and have these awards every year, and let's build a structure that can help European filmmakers to not only make their films, but basically build a film community of European filmmakers, and that's what we are still doing. In the meantime, of course, the Academy has grown. From a very small team, we now have a team of around 20 people from all places of Europe, most of them working in Berlin. but many of them not from Germany. Myself, I'm Dutch and from Amsterdam originally, and many of my colleagues are from different countries of Europe. And I think it's important as well to have an organization that thinks European and tries to be as European as possible. Maybe a few numbers. We work since almost 40 years. We work in 52 countries. Many of you will say 52 countries. I thought there's only 27 European countries. That's the EU. But the European Film Academy is not linked to the EU when it comes to the countries we work in, where we understand Europe as we call it, geographical Europe. And if you look that up on Wikipedia, you'll see there's 50 countries. So why the 52? We also work in Israel and Palestine since 20 years already, so they are included, and that means we have members in both countries, and we also give awards to members in those countries of films in the country. So it's a very broad scope of how we work. Other numbers are that in the meantime we have 5,500 members. So from the 40 in the first years, we really grew in the last years. And especially, I think, in the last decade, the number doubled for the simple reason that we realized that the Academy, to be really effective, needs members, needs to be representing the people in Europe, and that's why we also really have worked in more actively inviting people that we think would be great members for the European Film Academy. So I know that very often people ask, yeah, why am I not a member? Why is she a member? Why is he a member? And why am I not a member? Well, there is certain criteria to become a member of an academy, like everywhere in the world. But we do not know everybody in Europe, and that's why we work with a lot of partners in Europe to make sure that we find the right people. So, for example, we invite, of course, people who have been shortlisted or nominated with films or won a European Film Award. But we are also working with partners like the Slovenian Film Center to say, and we very much appreciate the exchange we have every year a couple of times to say, hey, what's going on in Slovenia, what's happening, but also who might be suitable members for the European Film Academy. We get recommendations from a lot of sides, from members, but also from the Film Center, obviously through our board members that we have throughout the years. And because we do research ourselves, and frankly speaking, the fact that I had a chance to come to Slovenia and meet some of you will, I'm sure, also help to identify and to say, hey, there could be more members actually. At the moment I counted, in the meantime, we have between 55 and 60 members, I think around 57 or 58. Is it 58?
I think it's 57, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Changes sometimes a bit every week, but it's around that. So actually, since a couple of years, there have been more Slovenian members than 5 years ago, and that's good. And I think there's a lot of extra space for that as well. Hopefully, in the next couple of years. Other numbers I could mention is the awards are now entering their 38th edition. We used to be in December until last year, but the dates of the European Film Academy the awards have changed to mid-January. So that means technically in 2025 there is no European Film Awards because we will not have a ceremony in December. It moves 1 month later to mid-January. And maybe also to explain the reason, because many people are like, well, did you have nothing else to do than to change the date of the European Film Awards? Yes, we did, and there was a very specific reason for it. There's a few reasons. One of it is that the task and the main task of the Academy is still to build European film culture. And we do this through, among others, a big part of that work is the European Film Awards. But again, we do more, and I'll come back to that later. And December is a complicated month for film awards for the simple reason it's the end of the year. People have traveled a lot already. They don't want to go to another place. Christmas is coming, and so on and so on. But the main reason is, because obviously there's similar reasons, in January people are tired, the holidays are just behind us, I don't want to travel again, I'm only going to Berlinale, not before. But the big difference is two different things, which is, first of all, in January people start thinking about who is going to win the big awards that we have in the world. Of course we're talking about American awards there. But people sort of get in the mood of like, what were the best films, which films were the best from Europe as well, which European films might win, maybe also at the Golden Globes or at other awards, Oscar obviously, BAFTAs. And the big difference is, and in the end we all know that makes a difference, it's hard to say in a room full of filmmakers, but in the end it also depends on when people start paying money to promote the films. And that's in January. Like people do marketing and promotion for their films really in January, because that's the month people start wanting to be nominated, shortlisted for all these big international awards. So we decided together with the board a few years ago that we would change the awards in that period, for the simple fact that the films that will win and that will be nominated will get more visibility, because people pay more to promote it, to make sure that audiences will see the films. Films will be more in cinemas, and it will be good for European cinema to be in that period, and not in the wonderful period full of Christmas trees, which is the beginning of December. We're going to try out if it works. I mean, I believe it will work. It's going to be the first time. We already see that people are sort of preparing the January date already differently than they used to do in December. So I have a good feeling that it will be good in the long run for European cinema. And yeah, that's I think the two or the three most important things for now. You ask more.
Yeah, I would like to ask much more. And I mean, starting maybe with the transformation of the Academy from these early times in the late 80s, when mostly or mainly or only the film directors joined forces and suggested the establishment of, and established the Academy, and they produced this appeal in 1989. And I'm now just checking here who were the establishing members. So, for instance, Leo Angelopoulos, Richard Attenborough, Bernardo Bertolucci, Mark Bergman, of course, and Chabrol, and maybe somebody who we know the most because he's coming from this part of the world, Dušan Macaveo, and Fellini, and De Oliveira, Jiří Menc, Albin Wenders, Istvan Sabo. So this was that pioneer stage or phase of the Academy. But the Academy evolved into much, much more, and the Academy and the awards are just one of the many activities the Academy is doing or working on every year. Yeah. And maybe something more about that. Yeah. What else is important for the Academy? You said this dissemination of film culture in general. So yeah. What else are the Academy actively supporting and working on everything?
Yeah, much more. I mean, it's funny. I mean, we both here see this manifesto. You can see it on the website of the European Film Academy. It's funny to read it. If you have a moment and you want to read something which is interesting, is this manifesto on the website. If you read it, it feels at one point it feels super outdated. Partly because it's signed by 40 white elderly men, but at the same time, of whom actually only Wim Wenders and Istvan Sabo are still alive. All the others have left us in the meantime, so it's really a different generation. At the same time, it's very contemporary, because you really see a group of people who say, we believe in something that is inherently European. It says something about who we are, how we live, how we see the world, our values, our traditions, our styles of cinema. And we see if we don't do anything, it will just be absorbed by mainstream, mainly American mainstream ways of doing and thinking things. So we need to step up, and that's still relevant, even though the dangers are different. And that has also informed actually the development of the European Film Academy, because in those, let's say, 40 years, of course, organizing one Saturday evening in the year in which you say, now we celebrate European cinema, is not enough to save European cinema. So we do much more, and we cannot do it alone. But what we can do is, for example, looking at young generation, like people in their teenagers of today. I mean, we all, I'm just very generalizing, but I'm pretty sure that every one of us, most of us have been born in the 20th century, or at the end of the 20th century, or maybe the beginning of the 21st century if you're somewhere in the very back and now filming. But we all sort of are used to watching films where we know what the cinema is, we've grown up in the cinema, we've fallen in love in the cinema, we've been visiting festivals and so on. But if you look at the young generation of now, people who've been born in the first 10 or 20 years of this century, they don't know this anymore because they're not being brought there automatically or very seldomly. And I think the European Film Academy has a task to make sure that young people, schools, to now have the possibility to offer this to teenagers, even younger people, children of 5, 6, 7 years old as well. So that's something that we do. Together with schools, obviously. It's not easy, but we do this in 30 countries at the moment in Europe. What we also do is paying attention not only to the films that are made now, the films you can see here at the festival, the films that win awards, but also to say European cinema is something, cinema is born in Europe. Cinema is so linked to all the histories of all the European countries. We also want to celebrate European film heritage. And for us, heritage are not only the classics of, let's say, 1929, but also the classic from 3 years ago that have become classics in the meantime because everybody knows them, they've won awards, and we can see them again. So we're really working with almost every cinematheque in Europe, every film archive, film museums, you name it, depends a bit on the country how they are called, and we work with them to make sure that what they do, the restoration of films, the promotion of classics, honoring people who have passed away, making sure that we do not forget people who have worked in film. That's something that we try to bring together every year in the work that we do as well, to include also classics in all the programming that we do. It means also, for example, to young people. We show a lot of classics to young people, also for the simple fact that they don't very often have either sound or they don't need subtitles. So it's sometimes easier to show all black and white films to very young audiences because they react actually quite interested to that. They really like watching classics. And that's what we do as well. Other things that we do is in the heritage department, actually something we did yesterday in Piran here in Slovenia, which is not only talking about people and about films, but also about places that are linked to film and film history. Places that make us remember that we saw a film that was shot here. Places that make us remember that we had a fantastic experience in cinema, or places that are simply remembering filmmakers. So we call this the treasures of European film culture. And in Piran yesterday, the 1st of May Square, we named it as one of the official monuments of European cinema with a very nice ceremony. Thank you again for this. It was really, really nice to be able to include Slovenia from yesterday onwards. And we have 60 of these places at the moment, and we're giving this status every year to 10 more places, because at the end of the decade, we want to have 100 places in Europe. And of course, we will not stop, but at least to say we have 100 places. It's not easy to find the places, not because there's lots of ideas, but it's not so easy to make sure that people can find the places, and it's a place that people can really visit. But I think it's important work of what we do. I can go on and on, but maybe one or two things we can mention. We do a project together with the European Film Parliament, which is the Lux Award, that some of you might know. There's a lot of screenings going on all around Europe. We are a partner. We make sure that the films are being selected by the Parliament, that the filmmakers come. And we do knowledge sharing. Thank you for showing this, Aneja. It helps me a lot. We do knowledge sharing programs, which is basically it is that the 5,500 members that the European Film Academy has, for us an academy is a place where you bring together people who have a huge amount of knowledge, experience, and passion for European cinema. So for an academy, what you can do is to say, well, imagine one person, one member with a lot of passion and knowledge and experience, and then you multiply it with 5,500. Imagine the enormous amount of knowledge and passion that you have there. So as an academy, we try to tap into that and make sure that people who say, I have an experience of 40 years of animation filmmaking, I'm on fire for animation film in European cinema, to make sure that other people in Europe can benefit from that knowledge, that we can say, hey, you can ask him or her. We help people to be invited in juries, or to let them give master classes, or to maybe teach in schools. And we hope in the future that we can also, among, let's say, like I spoke to Monica in the room today as well, like hair and makeup designers all over Europe. The Academy brings them together in programs, and we hope that we can also make sure that hair and makeup designers, costume designers, or production designers, editors, cinematographers, and so on, can become groups and communities in themselves in Europe, to to share knowledge, to compare things that you want to know, not only about like how our working conditions, which is also important, but also to share experiences and make sure that this knowledge within Europe is increased and improved by bringing people together. And I'm very happy that we can work with you here as well in Slovenia, and hopefully in the future more people to build that up and to do something very special. So these are the things we do all year round. Yeah.
Okay, maybe just a few words more about the structure of the academy, and maybe let's start again from the membership point of view. So you said the academy has at this time like 5,500 members, roughly 60 coming from Slovenia, which is not bad. We have to say this loudly, because there are some countries which are much larger and they have percentage-wise much smaller number of members. What are the benefits of being a member? We know that we can watch films which are selected for the nominations or for the awards, but what else? And of course we have to pay a membership fee. But what else can members benefit from?
I think benefits are, in general, it is that you enter a community all over Europe that is very outspoken about the fact that we believe all in the importance of European cinema, and that we want to, apart from the work that we do ourselves, if you are a filmmaker or in whichever capacity you work, that you say, I work myself, I do my own things nationally, regionally, internationally, but I also believe that I want to be a part of a community of people that all have said, I want to do this. So the membership is also sort of like I would say a dedication and a commitment to something. Before I come to the benefits, because obviously, we also live in a world that you need to have a list at least of 10 things you get out of it, and if you don't have that, then it's not worth it. For me, it's always coming from two sides. You cannot do without committed members. We can't do much. What we give back is, apart from access to films that otherwise are not easy to see, we have our own VOD platform for all members where you can see all these films that are shortlisted and nominated. We also make sure that, and I think in the future, this will grow, and when I talk about the future, it will actually be in the next 2 years, we will make it easier for people to reach out to each other, to talk to each other, to find each other. We will organize, from this year onwards, more events for members, where people can, maybe give the example, for example, with the hair and makeup designers, where people can exchange information much more easy through the platform that the European Film Academy at the moment is building and will launch next year. I think it also helps for people to gain knowledge about their work. We did a survey 2 years ago together with the European Commission and with a couple of other partners, the marketing KAMER, for example, and we asked them, what are you missing in Europe? Not only in the academy, but in general. And a very overwhelming amount of people said, I'm so busy with my work, it's so hard to survive in my work that I realize that I don't have the time to educate myself more, to learn about new developments. I'm not only talking about AI, I'm just learning about new trends in my own branch of work. Systems that are changing, obviously funding that is changing. And it seems to be a very big issue within the industry, in the creative industries at large, but specifically also in the film industry. People said, I simply don't have the time to do a course to improve my own work. And I started noticing that after 20, 25 years of working, I actually should do it, because I see younger people are just more, maybe sometimes better in a couple of things that are needed now. I think the European Film Academy actually can work, and that's something we are developing at the moment. It's something that is not easy to fund, but we're working on this. And I think the chapters that we have set up, again, these are the groups or the communities of members within the big community of 5,500 members, will help with that. Just an example, where we're talking about costume design, for example, we really want to start organizing, whether it's courses, whether it's workshops, online, because we're in Europe, we're not going to fly everybody in all week, everywhere, we don't have the budget for that either. Sometimes together with festivals, workshops, conversations, where we make sure that it's easier for people to learn from each other. We do this now here in Porto Roche in a nice room and so on, but many people will never hear what's going on. I've learned this is live stream, so hopefully millions of people are watching it. But I think we, as a European Film Academy, and the platform that we have, can help with this as well, and make sure that it's easier for people to learn from each other and do these workshops or master classes or just connections online. Or, for example, if you've produced a film and you're a producer, you have produced a film, there's a rough cut of the film, and yes, you can say, I'm going to organize maybe a rough cut screening for a couple of people, and I ask friends or people from the industry. But we as European Film Academy, I think, could enable people to say, I'm going to ask other European people to, have sort of a watch party online. It's very popular with teenagers. Watch parties are basically the same. You watch a party together, and afterwards you speak about a film, or you write about a film. You'll basically get input from 10 different countries about, the strengths and maybe the weaknesses of a film, or the editing, or the sound, and so on. I think these kind of things we, as an academy, can play a much stronger role in. I see that technically that's also possible, and as I said, next year we'll launch a new platform for all our members where they can start using these kind of features gradually.
I'm really happy to hear that basically you are brainstorming so many different ideas and possibilities to network members, to let them be more active or proactive and to work together. So let's say, now I'm really hooked, I would like to become a member. So what is the basic set of rules? What do I have to achieve? It's probably not enough that I'm just produced or directed on a short film, or maybe it is, if it's nominated or awarded, but what else? What in general? Very basic.
Yeah, so I won't go into all the little details.
No.
Basically, I just out of time because it's all on the website as well, but I can say a few things. I think in general, yes, you have to be a filmmaker, and the rule is also that you have to be out of film school, which doesn't mean we don't do anything for film students, but like to become a real member of the European Film Academy, you have to have finished film school. That's one rule. You have to have made a couple of films. For some people, it's one film that's been very successful. For other people, it's a couple of films already. For some, it's only short. For others, it's features. I have to say that for the European Film Academy, we've eased the rules a little bit in the last couple of years. Not because we needed more members, but because we've said we want to see that people say, European cinema is my life. I want to work in European cinema. You don't have to be the director, the screenwriter, the producer of the film. You can be a film critic. You can be somebody who works within the film funds, but you're on fire for European cinema. You can become a member of the European Film Academy. So we're not an academy that only says it's only the boss who become a member and only like the long time experienced people. The passion for cinema is important for us. Yes, it's being checked if you're eligible, if you fit into the profile, and if we have serious people in the European Film Academy.
Recommendations?
Recommendations help, but they're not necessarily. We do invite people actually when we feel, hey, this could be a person that would be perfect. It used to be that you would have to collect 2 recommendation letters to be even considered. We said that it's not of this time anymore. But obviously, if you say, well, I believe I'm a great candidate, nobody else seems to think so, and here is 2 recommendation letters, of course it helps, so it's possible to send them, but we'll not throw them away. But we felt in the last couple of years, and I'm very happy that the board supported this as well, I think an academy needs to be inviting, needs to be bringing people together. We have a task as well to tell people, I think you're a wonderful filmmaker, I think you're a wonderful film journalist, I think you're a producer, you actually are eligible for us. We would be honored if you would become a member. And that's a bit the switch we've made in the last couple of years. Also for the reason simply, I'm coming back to the esteemed signatories of the manifesto. Until not so long ago, I would say 2/3 of the members were men. Yeah. And we also said as a European Film Academy, we want to be an academy that reflects European cinema in all members that we could possibly think of. So we've made it in the last 5-10 years much more inclusive and also diverse, and I think that's good. Also when it comes to age, and now I'm coming not to the film students but to younger people, for an academy to survive, it's of course fantastic to have very esteemed members who are well in their careers, like seasoned careers, people are in their 60s, 70s, 80s maybe. We have many of them. But it's important for us also to have people under 35. So we've really closely also worked with film schools actually to say, hey, we work with them, and when you're graduated, you can become a member of the European Film Academy after you had your nice, beautiful graduation film, toured in festivals. So we scout there as well, and it's important for us to have younger members. They pay less as well. We give them a big discount, so it's easier for them also to become a member. And after 35, so the moment you turn 36, you become a regular member. But you have to renew your membership every year. It's not as with some other academies where you're basically automatically a member disregarding. You have to decide every year again, I'm staying a member. You get the invoice every year as well. So yeah, that's important for us.
But speaking about membership fee, I can also witness that we are thinking a lot and discussing really at large how to accommodate very different vision and also financial status of our members from different parts of Europe. Because the membership fee might sound really low for members, let's say, from Scandinavia, but quite a burden for somebody coming from southeast part of Europe. So we are trying to also to accommodate. We are not yet there. I remember that we spoke the last time like a few months ago at our board meeting about it, and we will continue this discussion, I think, how to make it, how to loosen up, how to make it easier to all our members coming from all different parts of Europe to become, to pay this burden. Because it's not only about the money, but it's also to find a way how to embrace all those talents who would like to be a member, but sometimes they're just struggling with this burden.
I have to say though, yeah, I agree, and I'm happy we do that as well. I think also next year with this new platform, it will be much easier to say, you don't have to pay every year one amount, but you can pay a monthly amount, which makes it much easier for people just like financial planning thing. That's a reality. I agree. I mean, many, I would say the majority of the country in Europe, 250 euros is the fee. It's a very low fee if you compare it to other international academies, but it's a lot of money if you look at it, and especially if you have to pay it straight away in one amount. So that will change. However, we're also an academy that has been always very, I would say, forthcoming and supportive when it came to people saying, listen, I had a very bad year during the pandemic. An example, we waived the fees of many people because we felt, we're not just to say, oh, they didn't pay, so bye, you're out. And we really have a team in Berlin of people. I mean, if you ask the European Film Academy, can you help me with something? We will say, yes, we can, what can we do for you? So I don't know that there's anybody ever not been a member because they indicated to us, listen, for me it's too high, can I do something else? So we always found a solution for that.
And also you still can be a member, but you are not allowed to have everything if you're not paying, right? So some members are still the members, but if they're missing the fee, they cannot vote, for instance. I mean, I remember when I was running for the first time for being a board member, some friends of mine, professionals who were members, they said, okay, well, I have to pay the membership fee to vote. But I mean, as we said, it's underway, so we are looking for solutions how to accommodate this. But Academy changed a lot in the last couple of years. I mean, the last 5 years. I mean, it's basically the time when you came in as a CEO, but not only because of that. So what are the changes? Because the system of the board was different back then. Now, since last couple of years, I think we have much better representation of the board members from all parts of Europe. Maybe a few words about that.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I mean, I've made the choice to come to the European Film Academy because I felt, Europe has an academy. It has a very impressive list of people who set it up. I used to work before as the head of the market in the Berlinale. And I realized, I mean, first of all, I felt making sure that in the years that come, we have a stronger community in Europe of people passionate about film, making films, and being able to really connect better to each other, apart from all the festivals that we have, is for me a passion project. I felt like I want to contribute to that and make sure that in, let's say, 10 years, that really has become better. It has become much more inclusive, it makes more sense. And the academy feels like a modern academy, and that's what I want to do. And I think, and I agree, obviously the last 5 years a lot of things also have changed in many ways that were helpful. But at the same time, we see also at the moment in Europe that a lot of things also politically are changing that are not helpful. It's very difficult sometimes to talk about Europe in general. In some countries in Europe we've lost funding as well because people cannot make budgets available for European projects anymore, so it's not easy. But what has changed is a few things I mentioned and a few new things. First of all, more members, a more modern way, I think, of speaking with and for the members. For example, the better online platforms and so on, and what you mentioned yourself. I think also representation of the members, because as a member, you decide who is in the board. The board is the highest organ in the European Film Academy when it comes to decision making, strategies. I develop them with my team, but the board basically says yes or no. So it's important as well to have a board that represents Europe. And when I came to the European Film Academy, the board was basically consisting, I would say, 80% of Western European people from the big countries, Germany, France, Spain, UK. They all had 2 board members and so on. And there were 30 countries that, as it is often in Western Europe, I'm from Western Europe, I know, Eastern Europe. So that's like from Estonia to Slovenia, basically. Eastern Europe.
We were part of Southeast Europe.
I know, but
to Palestine.
Everything is called Eastern Europe if you're not living in France or in Germany. And there were 3 people in the board who spoke for Eastern Europe, and we saw this in the selection of the films. We saw this in decisions being thought through. Does it make sense for people living in Western or Southern or Northern Europe, but also for people in Northeastern, Southeastern, or Eastern Europe? So this way of thinking as Europe much more as a continent, and not like, hey, we do things in the West and the rest can be happy to join. I think that has changed, and for me it's been an important thing as well, because I think the result is that now we have 15 regions, and all the regions you are representing, actually the largest region with 10 countries.
Yeah, 8 in fact, but I mean, maybe geographically not the largest, but by number of countries, definitely the biggest.
I think it's also cinematically an important part. Lots of things are happening in Israel as well. But all the regions are represented, and that makes, you see it also in the board meetings, the discussions have become more European. Because it's not the French or the Germans who basically decide the agenda anymore, it's the whole of Europe. I think that's an important change.
No, I think I agree a lot with this, and I think that those discussions are really very fruitful, and as you said, very European, very wide, and we are always trying to find a way how to bring in those who are the least represented. So we are trying to discuss things having that perspective.
Yeah. Another thing, if you allow me, there's one thing that I also found. I'm a Dutchman living in Germany for 17 years. Until 2020, 100% of the team of the European Film Academy was only Germans. And I realized that when I said that I was the first non-German working for the European Film Academy in 2021, actually. I started on the 1st of January, in the middle of the pandemic, and it seemed that the team didn't realize that they were all German, but they were all, wonderful people. They all love Europe and they work for Europe. But we made the team much more European. So at the moment, 50% of the people are coming from Spain, and UK, and Romania, and Hungary, and Poland, and so on. And that made a difference as well, because you just sense it's become more a project that taps out of the realities of Europe.
I can say that's also visible very much while the board and the experts are discussing the projects which are then shortlisted and ready to be nominated. So maybe we can come back again to the awards and speak a bit about this process, which may look from the outside a bit difficult to understand or to grasp, but it's in fact very transparent and very clear. So how films are coming to be shortlisted.
Yeah, If you allow me, I'll talk about it 5 minutes because I'm curious if there's other questions from the room as well.
Sure.
45 minutes, I'll do a short one. So there's basically 4 ways of selecting nominees for the European Film Awards. I start with the biggest group, which is the fiction films, the feature-length fiction films. There's a committee every year that is appointed by the board, including Daniel, which consists of 7 board members and 6 film experts. Film experts are people working in the film industry that actually watch a lot of films and want to dedicate a lot of time watching films that year for the committee. They can be film journalists, they can be festival programmers, they can be sales agents, they can be distributors, you name it. And we rotate these members every 2 years, so it's not always the same group of people. This committee, board members, film experts, discusses 3 times per year all the submitted films. So we discuss, we means I'm not part of the committee, but I moderate the sessions. The films that are submitted by people are discussed. If you don't submit your film, the film will not be discussed. So that's maybe also good to mention. If you make a film, if you're involved in a film, check if somebody is submitting it for the European Film Awards, because we will not call you and say, like, hey, by the way, why is your film not submitted? Maybe unless it won't come or something, and we see that somebody has forgotten something. But in general, people submit their films, get hundreds of submissions, and 3 times per year, the committee basically picks the films, and at the end, in October, that's actually 2 weeks ago, the shortlisted films are announced. So they're now there since the 14th of October, and they're the base for the nominations. So all the members can vote, and the nominations will be announced next month, 18th of November. That's the biggest, the most visible films. Then there's 4 other ways of selecting. One of it is for the short films. Short films are selected completely differently, and there's a good reason for it, because there's so many short films that none of our members wants and has the time to watch, let's say, 500 short films. So we, many years ago, the European Film Academy set up a network of 30 short film festivals all over Europe, well-known, national, respected short film festivals. And we asked each of these festivals to name a candidate for the European Short Film Award. Very often it's the winner of the festival competition. If it's not a European film, they say, oh, no, so the Japanese film won the big award, but this is our candidate for the European Short Film Award. So it means at the end of the year we have 30 films, unless one festival maybe has the same candidate, which sometimes happens, not very often. We have 13 films, and the directors or the main programmers of the festivals choose the 5 nominees. They have a whole bunch of a big discussion, they have a whole week to discuss, they vote, there's a whole voting system for them, and they decide the 5 nominees. That means the members of the European Film Academy get 5 nominees, short films, and they vote again for the winner. And then there's 2 others that are actually very similar, so I'll just explain them in one. That's for the documentary films and the animation films. There's a committee, people who are documentary experts or people who are animation film experts. They get all the documentary films that are submitted, all the animation films that are submitted. They have a big discussion, which is half a day, and they choose the shortlisted films. Which is 15 documentaries and 8 animation films. And from each, the members of the Academy then vote again for the 5 nominees for each categories. And the last one is the Discovery selections. Discoveries are debut films, first-time films. Also feature films, fiction films at the moment as well. So the only fiction films that can get the Discovery Award. Who knows if that changes in the future. Also there's a committee. It's basically a committee from, we have somebody from movie committee, we have somebody from
film critics from FIPRESCI.
Film critics of FIPRESCI, because it's a collaboration with FIPRESCI. Yeah, so there's 3 committee members that are FIPRESCI, and they choose the 6 nominees. Yeah, and they will also be announced next month, in Sevilla in Spain. Yeah.
So basically, in every way of selecting films, also certain board members are involved and included. So we can say that you can also witness that the system is really very transparent. Maybe it looks a bit complicated, but it's not, in fact.
I think it's very
it's very different.
It's very fair, and there's a lot of time spent in making fair decisions. If you would ask me if it's very transparent, I mean, I think it is, because I now worked there 5 years and understand, you understand as well. I think we can do a little bit better, and that's actually something I'd love to start doing next year, to make sure that people who just have no clue and they want to understand it, that they can easily find it. You can see it on our website, you know, who's gonna like scroll and click 17 times on the website to read how systems work. So I think we should do a bit better in the future to explain it more easily to people. But I believe very much it's a very fair and more fair system than a couple of years ago.
Speaking of this new way of selecting fiction features, mainly because they are the largest number of films which are then shared with the members who can then choose the nominations and the final winners. Those 3 time frames in which you can submit your film and in which the committee and experts and board members are choosing those who are then shortlisted, that's also enabling us members to have much larger frame to watch film, because usually until last year the problem was that we got this announcement of those 45 or 40 something titles in September, and then we have to leave everything aside, technically, I mean, I'm joking now, and watch films for a month to choose the nominations.
Impossible.
It was impossible for most of us. Of course, you can watch some films on the festivals, while now this new system is enabling us to watch a certain batch of films, even though they are not officially announced, but we can watch them on the platform, right?
Yeah, it was important to just have the films selected 3 times during the year. So as soon as the first batch was selected, Little Trouble Girls, for example, was in Berlinale, the successful, one of the first films that was selected by the committee. We put it already on the platform because everybody wanted the film, so people could see it from spring onwards already. And by September, I think if you would have done regular watching, you could have easily seen 20 films already, which makes it easier to see the last films coming after Venice and Toronto and San Sebastian. And hopefully it will lead to more people having seen the films and being able to vote comparing the film, because that was always, for good reasons, a problem.
Because not so many, or not all of the members, let's put it like that, were really voting.
No.
Because that's really a task, and many people, I think, have this kind of a moral obligation, or at least they didn't dare to vote because they watched just a smaller number of titles. And now this new system is enabling us to have larger period of time for watching films, and then also voting is easier in a way.
I mean, practically speaking, half of the members vote. The other half doesn't vote, and they have either good reason, you know, like I didn't see all the films, and they're very aware and very conscientious about it, so they say, like, I don't feel I'm the right person to vote this year. Other people just don't want to watch films all the time, you know, they want to make films, they want to, I don't know, have other things to do. Some people also say, this is a very busy year for me, I'm not going to do a lot this year, but I still want to be a member. So people always have their good reasons. And you would say, well, half of the members is not so much. We have a network, the European Film Academy, with all the national film academies as well, which is around 25 countries in Europe have a national film academy, they give national awards. We have a network with them, so we compare our own data with them. For most of the academies, half of the members vote, and the other half is not so active for whatever reason. So we're not so much an exception. I think it's okay if an academy has half of the members at least voting. It would be nicer if it would be 2/3, so we're trying to move it up. For the simple reason that we want people to watch all these wonderful films. Yeah. But no, the academy remains a place of people working in film, and we know it's a big job. So it's also okay if people say, listen, I'm dedicated and passionate about European cinema, but I'm not going to spend 7 hours per day to watch film.
Okay, guys, maybe some questions from the audience. We are coming close to the end of our discussion, so
before everybody runs out, if you feel after this, okay, very interesting, but actually one question wasn't answered, or you wake up tomorrow and you think like, this would be a question for this guy from the European Film Academy, you can either reach out to Daniel, probably most of you know, or otherwise just go to the website of the European Film Academy, you'll see me there, and just send me an email, you know, and say that we met here, I'm happy to answer questions, and if I can't, my colleagues will. We're the European Film Academy, but we're actually very accessible. If you want us to do something, we're there to help you. So I just want to say that before you ask your question.
Thank you. Hi. I would like to ask a question. It's the following. So, this film academy sounds really nice, but I would like to know if the academy has a solution for the fact that the European films can reach more audience, not just inside the filmmakers or the members, because I do believe that the real award for a filmmaker is that the movie can reach as many people as possible. Is that a solution for the academy or master classes for filmmakers they teach or like talk about it more? I think that would be the most important thing, and I would like to know what are the options there.
Yeah, it's actually the most important question I would say of our whole existence. So I thank you for asking it. I could actually talk a whole day about that, but that's not an excuse to give a short answer. For me also, we talk about members and members having access and so on. Film culture is not only for members. Film culture should be for everybody who loves European cinema, in Europe or even outside of Europe. And I think the task of the European Film Academy, we say we want to build and we want to protect and we want to celebrate European film culture. If we have done a good job if people who are not working in the industry are feeling that European film culture is something. So there's a lot of things we still need to do. What are we doing? Well, I think building the European Film Awards and making sure that we have strong members who can, be enthusiastic ambassadors of European cinema is one thing, that's what we talked about now for 1 hour. But the other thing is indeed to make sure that we can also reach audiences. I think the move from the European Film Awards to January, becoming more visible, will help in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years to make people more aware of the fact that there's fantastic European films that they can also see. We work more with cinemas than before. We organize a European film, or in the meantime we call it the European Award Season. Will be announced next month. European Award Season in 125 cities. One of them will be Ljubljana this year as well, and 125 other cities where we do events, where we do screenings. So we are working on also getting European films closer to non-members and let's say people who just love going to the cinema. We want to make sure that they realize they don't only have to see, for example, American blockbusters, but they can also choose, okay, here in Slovenia I think many people might want to see Little Trouble Girls, but in other countries people simply will never have heard about the film, which is a pity. So that's why we want to make sure that people also see these kind of girls of European cinema.
Any other questions? Sorry.
Yeah, I quite a lot these days with my colleagues, but is it okay? Yeah. I wanted to clear some things that you said. One is about when you talked about you can become a member when you get out of film school. As I understand, you don't need to come out of film school. You can just be a filmmaker, not to ever enter the film school. That's one thing. And the other, I would like to add also for benefits of the members of the academy, I would say aside from the possibility to watch most of the European films as best selection on your VOD platforms, you also get a ticket to the ceremony, a possibility to attend every year the ceremony. So each member gets possibility to come and attend the ceremony and meet all the nominees and all the European filmmakers that are there. And I think another, well, this I wanted to clear up basically because this I find it as a great honor, to be able to attend the ceremony. Many of you maybe even don't know that you don't need really to be a celebrity to be invited. You just need to be the European Film Academy member and you get invited. So this is one
thank you
very important thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so thank you very much for everything. I think people are running for the screenings, but it was I
So it should be.
think,
Yeah,
a
thank you for
complete
coming today.
presentation.
Thank you very much, Matthijs. And guys, Matthijs is still here today and leaving tomorrow, so feel free to ask, and don't be shy. And also, if you would like to become members from Slovenia, I mean, we already discussed these things at large with film guilds, different film professionals guilds, and there is a way in which you can become a member in an easier way. So we are prepared already the first batch, which is already with the responsible person at the academy. But if you also would like to become members and you're still thinking of it, just when you will decide, just approach me and we can do it quicker in a procedural way.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. And,